where I'm starting from with this talk is the question that I've been pondering recently, which is, do we ever truly manifest the destiny of the Lunar North Node? And if so, what is the path? Now, since I've been doing evolutionary astrology for it's like 37 years now, um, you would think I would have that answer already. But actually, the longer I'm in it, the more I wonder about it. Because when you first start out, and I want to say first that I'm hoping this talk will be of interest to those of you who don't really know much about evolutionary astrology, who practice other forms of astrology. And I will make my case today of why I feel like the lunar nodes are the backbone of the chart and really essential to use no matter what kind of astrology you're doing. But also, if you are already an evolutionary astrologer, I hope I give you some interesting pieces and the philosophies I've come to develop over the years in the way that I work with it and how it comes forward in actually counseling astrology. And I see a lot of clients and have for years. So I have this history of watching people. I have many of the same clients for all these almost 40 years, and their families and their friends, and I've watched them go through their lives. And so when we think about evolutionary astrology and we first learn about it, we tend to be, somewhat, linear and binary in the way we approach things as humans. And so we think, oh, South Node is bad and North Node is good. And I got to get from my South Node to my North Node. And even though someone might tell you along the way that, no, it's not really that way, you're finding a balance between the two, there's still that lingering doubt that we have that somehow we're supposed to go somewhere. We're supposed to arrive somewhere. We're supposed to accomplish something. And the honest truth is, I've seen most people struggle with the activation and integration of the lunar nodes for all these years that I've been working with them. Like, I find that no matter what transit is going on, it's coming back at this core level to what are the qualities of the South Node that I'm reveling in and that I'm working with in a positive way? What am I stuck in? What is this kind of this endless loop of a human ego stuck pattern? And what am I developing? And am I reaching my soul's purpose? Am I really evolving? And I will say, just in starting, I've come to the conclusion that most people live very strongly from their South Node in the first half of life. And I feel like it is this lifelong process, and it is a process, a practice. And so slowly but surely finding authentic integration of this key aspect within the chart comes up over and over again. So today what we'll talk about is karma and dharma just in general. What does that mean? And what does it mean to create a karmic story? And how do we actually really want to do that? We'll talk about the task of integration and balance of this nodal structure. Talk a little bit about other planets in the chart and how they support or sabotage our evolutionary goals. And we'll talk about practical healing strategies, because I'm really all about that. I feel like the chart is the roadmap, and sometimes it's kind of like an X-ray of where you are currently. But without practical, proactive action, I feel like the chart becomes information. It's just an exercise in talking about things, and we don't really get to the truth of the chart and how it can be part of true evolution and growth on all levels. And then we'll touch on the nodes in relationships, whether it's our own relationships or the people we're consulting with, that it's pretty obvious that, since everybody in our life is a teacher, we can say that as a spiritual principle, and we don't always like all of our teachers. Sometimes we're learning the hard way. But whether we're learning the hard way with someone or it feels supportive and easeful, we are always in this learning process. And I think it really helps to consider how the lunar node structure can be used in couples astrological consultations, or in understanding whether relationships are supporting us and how to be more supportive to people that we care about. So this first concept of karma and dharma, the definition, dictionary definition, is karma is the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence, viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. And I would morph that into it's unresolved thought and feeling energies that create habit patterns. So when we move from one incarnation to another, whatever is unresolved is going with us, and that forms a pattern. And karma, even though many people tend to think of karma as this back and forth piece, I hurt you and now you hurt me, and that can be a piece of karma, but the bigger experience of karma, in my experience, is that we do the same thing over and over again, that we're creatures of habit, and it takes us a while to get out of habits that are unhealthy. And then dharma in Hinduism is defined more as the eternal and inherent nature of reality. It's like a cosmic law. It's underneath right behavior, social order, truth, reality. That's the way it's described in these ancient religions, belief systems. But more and more, we've come to understand the word in modern language as Dharma relating to one's higher evolutionary path and right action in the world and right action on all levels. Many times we think of Dharma in more of a way of our soul's purpose. And, in the Western world, we tend to immediately think of that as the purpose of a career or a calling in the world. But Dharma can be whatever is right action for us. Now, this also takes us into the sort of the underlying philosophies of what we'll deal with here today, of fate versus free will. So fate is the roadmap. It is the connection to the karma. And the natal chart shows us this roadmap of the soul's intentions for this lifetime. We can think of it as a river. And, the Buddhists will say that we are on a particular river and we can veer from side to side, but it's very difficult to get off the river we're on and portage over to another river. As souls, we generally don't do that. We tend to stay on the fated path with some level of the free will. And free will comes from consciousness. And the ego personality, which I've been starting to call the stubborn puppet of the soul, the ego personality aligning with this higher consciousness will find ways to make choices within the parameters of fate. And this is why our astrology readings cannot be, 100% accurate at any given point, because we look at the map of fate and we contemplate the consciousness and what choices are possible. And, on a healthy level, we need to give people a certain level of latitude of what they're going to choose. The chart is multidimensional and it offers a lot of different possibilities. Every planet has a karmic story and an evolutionary intent, but it's the lunar nodes themselves that provide the foundation of what this fate is, the biggest piece of it.